It started as a game of cat and mouse with hardly a car on the track for 20 minutes. But as the track cooled, the pace warmed up. Not sadly for Damon Hill. Another spin, another place towards the back of the grid. Then came the Jacques and Michael show. Michael landed the first blow, but back came Jacques with an even better shot. Then new boy Alexander Wurz lost it into the last corner, and the session was red flagged. That left a mad 5 minutes from the restart. Jacques pushed too hard, and the best came at the last.
The seconds are ticking away. It's almost the end of the lap. Over the grid, Michael Schumacher is in pole position. Fabulous, fabulous. What a wonderful, wonderful lap. Incredible.
So it's the Ferrari and Schumacher on pole. Villeneuve right alongside him. Wonderful achievement by Barrichello in the Stewart. Heinz-Harald Frentzen also on the second row. Then David Coulthard, top Brit in the McLaren, followed by the Jordans of Fisichella and the younger Schumacher, Jean Alesi, alongside the Jordan on the fourth row. Hakkinen in the second McLaren, then Panis in the Prost. What an excellent debut from the Austrian Wurz, ahead of Eddie Irvine's Ferrari. Then Herbert and Verstappen on the seventh row. Damon Hill down the back again, I'm afraid, alongside his teammate Pedro Diniz. Then Salo and Morbidelli, followed by Nakano and Trulli. And right at the back, Magnussen Stewart and Katayama's Minardi. Well, Martin Brundle has been racing at Le Mans, so Mark Blundell, who's driven over 60 Grand Prix, is alongside Murray Walker.
Schumacher leads away, Villeneuve is second, and it's a Jordan up into third place. That should be Fisichella. And round they go, Jordan third, Jordan Alesi, and spin, that's Eddie Irvine spinning out. There's somebody's wing or front wing, and Eddie Irvine is already out of the Canadian Grand Prix. Just one Ferrari left, and it's Schumacher. Schumacher is leading, and it's Jacques Villeneuve in second place, and out goes Jan Magnussen. So there must have been a coming together between Eddie Irvine and Jan Magnussen at the beginning of the race. Two retirements from the 22 starters. Schumacher leads. Villeneuve is in second place. And it is Fisichella who is in third place, not Ralf Schumacher. Fisichella is third. Jean Alesi is in fourth position. Then it's the McLaren in fifth position. The rest of them streaming through. Now, it's a long, arduous race, as ever. It's going to be commanded by strategy. That is Alexander Wurz, incidentally. They are out of the hairpin now into that long straight to come through and complete the first lap. This is the right-left flick at the end of the lap, down to 60 miles an hour. Replay.
Yeah, it looks interesting, Murray. You can just see there's some action there. It looks like one of the cars, looks like the Prost car drove into the back of the McLaren. Hakkinen and Irvine was trying to avoid, actually, and just spun out. And that's the end of his race at this point. That's a shame.
Well, I wasn't looking, as you see Eddie Irvine walking in, I'm looking to see whether it was Olivier Panis, and I think it was. It was Olivier Panis, I'm pretty sure, in which case that is a dreadful blow for the Prost team. Shinji Nakano has completed the lap, and it was Olivier Panis from 10th on the grid. There he is in the pits, but this has effectively destroyed his chances, I think. In for a new nose, and we think Mika Hakkinen is coming in. Yes, Mika Hakkinen, I can see him coming into the pit lane, and that is a dreadful blow, not only for Prost and Panis, but of course for Bridgestone, who were relying on him to do well. But now the question is, where is Rubens Barrichello? As you look at Mika Hakkinen in the pit lane, and you can see that his rear wing is completely missing. So it was his wing that was knocked off on the turn when he came together. And Hakkinen has turned his engine off. It looks like a third retirement. So already Eddie Irvine, Jan Magnussen, Mika Hakkinen, 19 runners left, 20 out of the 22 coming towards us. Michael Schumacher leads. Jacques Villeneuve is in second place. Fisichella is third. Alesi is fourth. David Coulthard is in fifth position ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen as they come out of the last turn. And a spin there, and that is Frentzen. My goodness. Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
It's Villeneuve, Murray.
It's Villeneuve. It's Villeneuve. But this is fantastic. I don't know what happened. You can see his wing. Now you can imagine what this is going to do to Canada. You can imagine what it's doing to Villeneuve. He's absolutely distraught, understandably so. So much was depending for Jacques Villeneuve. He wanted to repeat his father's success in 1978 when he won the Canadian Grand Prix here on the Ile Notre Dame for Ferrari, but it wasn't to be. Now that has already transformed the World Championship situation. Fizzy Callum, here's a replay.
Is just coming into the last right, left, the flick before the pit lane, Murray. He turns in. Everything's okay at this point. He just got a little bit of oversteer turning in. You see, he just lost the rear end straight into the wall. That's a crying shame.
And Damon Hill in already.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm not sure why he should be in at this early stage. Could have been just for a tyre change. Maybe he's run over some debris. May have got a punch or a cut in his tyre. Could even be a vibration where he's blocked the left or right front wheels and he's coming for a fresh set.
You see now the battle between the two Tyrrells. Jos Verstappen in the leading one. There he is with the yellow mini wings on the front of his car. And behind him is Mika Salo in 9th position. Behind him is Johnny Herbert. So V8 engine, V10 engine. And yet another one.
Katayama.
One of the Minardis. It is Ukyo Katayama. That makes retirement number 5, and he's well and truly stuffed it into the arm car. I'm just trying to identify where it is. It is round about turn 6. It's the approach to turn... No, it's not. It's the run down to the hairpin. So he's come out of the left-hander at turn 9, lost it altogether, gone straight into the Armco. Doesn't look like an obstruction for the rest, though.
No, I don't think so. I think they'll be able to get a crane to that and just lift it out the way. A little bit of an unusual place to go off there, actually. I've not seen a car go off there in many years.
And the safety car is out. That will be to enable them to recover Ukyo Katayama's car. Now, this is a situation where you're familiar with, Mark, both in Formula One and in Indy racing. There is the safety car, and of course they will all be lining up behind it.
Of course they're going to come up behind the pace car now. The problem is for Schumacher especially, he's built that buffer up. He's now got to do it all over again. And this is an ample opportunity for other cars to come in and pit. And you can see the Williams team are getting ready, probably to receive Frentzen, maybe to look at a fuel strategy and tyre stop.
Now, here is a replay of Jacques Villeneuve. This is what happened to the Canadian as he went into the right-left flick at the end of the race. Turns left, loses it, just slides straight on over the concrete strip, which was put in to stop them running wide, into the wall, and in a distraught way, out of the race. The race is on again. The safety car has been out. We are on lap 10 in this 69-lap race. Damon Hill, sadly, has had trouble. He appears to have some sort of vibration, whether it's a tyre imbalance or a lost wheel weight or something else, I don't know. But whatever, it's caused him to come in. He has refueled, got away sounding very lumpy indeed. He's been into the pits twice. He's now in 17th position, and these are the retirements already. There are 17 runners out of the 22 who started. Ukyo Katayama out, Jacques Villeneuve is out, so is Mika Häkkinen, so is Jan Magnussen, so is Eddie Irvine, but the race is on again. Lap 10 out of 69. Your views so far, Mark Blundell?
Well, it's been interesting. Of course, we've got a lot of casualties, but from the perspective now the race has been literally restarted. Schumacher built the buffer up. He's got to do it all over again. That's going to be hard work for him.
Oh, into the pits comes Heinz-Harald Frentzen. The Williams mechanics are directly opposite me as I talk to you. He's coming down the pit lane at a maximum of 75 miles an hour, which is the mandatory limit. And here is the time. It's good to see that we've got a time this race. Heinz-Harald Frentzen gets out in 7.4 seconds. So knocking off a couple of seconds, say 5 seconds. He's taken on about 60 litres of fuel. It looks to me as though he's on a two-stop strategy. And look, the Tyrrell is trying to take... It's Verstappen. Is he going to get round? Yes, that was a demon move. My goodness, he runs very wide, but he's got past the Stewart And now Sarlo is in 9th position. So Verstappen moves up to 7th place, only 1 place off the points. David Coulthard is now the fastest man on the track. He's in 4th position in the McLaren, 1:21.58. The lap record was broken a long time ago. It's now 0.4 of a second faster than the lap record previously, which was held by Jacques Villeneuve, who retired. Here's the replay, and watch Verstappen. Demon move.
Yeah, very interesting move. A little bit scrappy coming in there, but he made it, and that's what it's all about. The only thing we can think about now is that Barrichello in the Stewart car must be running with a full tank full of fuel. He must be trying to go that 1 stop distance just to get the benefit out of those Bridgestone tyres, because he's lapping very slowly and his straight line speed is down. We've been seeing impressive straight line speed throughout, but it's down.
And now Sarlo is having a go at Barrichello. Sarlo in the white Tyrrell, pursued by Johnny Herbert in the blue Sauber. And these are the 8th, 9th and 10th. Barrichello, Sarlo trying to go round on the outside. Has he done it? As they come down to the chicane at the end of the lap. Well, Barrichello's got the inside line for the right-hander and moves across as he comes out, and Johnny Herbert has a look now at Mika Salo, who blocks him. Johnny's going through on the inside. Once again, Mika Salo moves across he's perfectly allowed to do that.
No problem at all, Murray. If you're out there, you can set the pace, you can dictate what line it is. But the interesting thing, Barrichello's got the V10 Ford, Tyrrell have got the V8. That's slightly disappointing from the Stewart's perspective on engine power.
And now Fisichella in 2nd position as you watch Mika Salo easing away from Johnny Herbert and closing up on Barrichello. Here's a replay. Salo on the right, trying to run round the outside of Barrichello, and Johnny Herbert trying to come through on the inside now as Salo drifts wide. But Fisichella is now the fastest man on the track in the Jordan. Giancarlo Fisichella with the Peugeot engine, 1:21.5. That's another new lap record. And he's closed the gap between himself and Michael Schumacher to 1.4 seconds. So lap 14, Schumacher leads. Fisichella is 2nd. Alesi is 3rd. Just behind him is David Coulthard, 4th position, 2.5 seconds ahead of Schumacher. Fisichella goes faster again. Schumacher has broken the lap record. And Salo and Barrichello continue to battle. They've been doing this all the way around the track. It's wonderful stuff.
Salo's going to be trying to get in the slipstream with Barrichello. You can see him. Oh, who's that? Is that Schumacher gone off?
Well, it's a Jordan. We need a good look at it. It is Schumacher, and he was in 5th position. Now, he's well and truly in the gravel trap. He looks perfectly, well, he is perfectly okay. You wouldn't get over the Armco like that if you weren't.
He's well and truly made a mess of that car, that's for sure. And it looks like he's lost it under braking, but it looks like he's gone in head first into turn 1. Let's see the replay now. You see him coming in. Oh, something terrible happened. It looks like he caught the grass on the right-hand side and slid all the way down the barrier. I've not seen that before. Maybe something broke in the car, possibly suspension under braking, lost its load and put the car into the side and slid down the barrier.
What happened to Jacques Villeneuve? He's with Louise Goodman.
Nothing special. The track was very slippery and just misjudged the corner a little bit. I really didn't expect it and just got sideways going in.
What's your feeling now?
Well, I'm highly disappointed because we had a strong car and it was only the 2nd lap and I made a big mistake.
And how typical, well, I don't know whether to tell you about this or tell you about Villeneuve, but I'll tell you about this. It's Mika Salo with the red mini wings on the front, trying to take 7th position, still away from Rubens Barrichello, whilst Johnny Herbert behind him tries to take 8th position away from Salo. 7th, 8th and 9th, and now Salo zooms up the inside of Barrichello. Great!
No, Salo's not there yet. He had to back off because there's a yellow flag because of the Schumacher incident. You cannot overtake under a yellow. So he was in the slipstream. He pulled out and had to back out of it. Barrichello's holding everybody up at this point, and they're going to get frustrated, Murray. They're going to make a mistake one way or another.
Yeah, I have to ask what may seem a silly question, Mark. Do you think that in any way Barrichello is playing a tactical race, forcing himself to go a bit slower than he could so that he can save pit stops?
Well, for sure it looks like they're going to do 1 stop at this pace. They can't be doing anything but that because they're running very, very slow. And you can see Salo's all over the back of Barrichello. Barrichello's being a little bit wide, but there's no problem there. He's allowed to do that. We don't know if he's got the benefit of the new wing mirrors which Villeneuve is running, which give 30% increased rearward vision. And no, it's all over now. Solo's done the move. Great stuff.
Yeah, and Barrichello dodges to the outside. Johnny Herbert's trying to follow through, and he's going to do it, is he? Let's see how the acceleration of the Ford V10 compares with Johnny Herbert's engine, the Ferrari-based engine, and it's about the same. That says a heck of a lot for Ford. They've been working very, very hard on this engine. They're on the 6th evolution of it, and Johnny Herbert goes through. So, Giancarlo Fisichella comes towards us. Now, his last lap was 1 minute 21.7, marginally slower, 0.2 of a second slower than Jean Alesi. And you can see there David Coulthard in 4th position, and you can see how close the Scotsman is to the French Sicilian in front of him as Olivier Panis comes into the pit lane. Now, this is lap 20. And that certainly doesn't look like a one-stop strategy to me. He's going to come in again round about lap 40. On goes the new set of tyres. 7.6 seconds. That compares with Heinz-Harald Frenzen's earlier stop. 7.4 seconds. Nothing in it. Coulthard is the man to watch in the silver McLaren. The last of these three. He's now caught Alesi, who has caught Fisichella. Meantime, Ralf Schumacher has taken advantage of the fact that these three are scrapping with each other by maintaining his pace and then increasing it to increase that gap. Michael Schumacher to 6.8 seconds, and he's just broken the lap record again. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari has just gone round in 1:20.3, a new lap record.
Yeah, Herbert's now into the top 10 with a strong 8th position at this point. The Sauber's very good at this track, and it looks like he's not too far away from being on the backside of Salo.
We're on lap 25, and the top 10 are Michael Schumacher, 8 seconds ahead of Fisichella, who's just ahead of Alesi. As into the pit lane comes Jos Verstappen in the Tyrrell from 6th position. Alesi 3rd then. Coulthard is right behind him in 4th position. Alexander Wurz will be absolutely elated, as will the team be, if he can stay to the end of the race where he is now, because he's on 2 World Championship points in his first Grand Prix in 5th position, and Ferrari retiree Eddie Irvine is with Louise Goodman.
Eddie, talk us through that opening lap.
Made a good start, got between the Benetton of Wurz and Panis, and then the two of them, I was just slightly out of their visibility, and the two of them started closing down on me, so I thought I better get out of there. So I pulled back and then went to the left. Wurz and everyone went way over to the right for the second corner, and I thought, okay, I'll go left. So I went left, and it was looking really, really good. I was going around the outside of the two guys, and next thing, someone's nose came flying out of nowhere, and it just hit my rear wheels, spun me around, and end of story.
It's not really been your weekend, has it?
No, it's been a bit of a bad one, but you know, Monaco and Argentina, these places, it went well for me, so there's always a payday, I guess, except for Michael Schumacher.
David Coulthard moves up into 2nd place, 10.5 seconds behind Michael Schumacher on lap 26. And you saw the time there, and Alesi has got out ahead of Fisichella. So he's gained a place. Now, that is an indication of how, if you get everything right in the pit stop, you really benefit.
Coulthard now very fast indeed, 19.945, new lap record, 2 tenths under Schumacher, and Schumacher's getting ready for a pit stop at this stage. You can see the Ferrari guys are getting ready. He needs to maximise this. He's been pushing very hard as the race is going on to build up that buffer. He's got some 10 seconds to lean on. He needs to have a clean entrance, valuable temps to be gained now, and a clean exit.
But it's not going to stop David Coulthard from taking the lead in this race, provided he does not come in. Alesi's been in of the top 6. Fisichella's been in. Johnny Herbert, who's in 5th position, has not. Alexander Wurz has, of course, as have Frentzen, Verstappen and Mika Salo. Schumacher into the pits now. I'm watching for David Coulthard to pass my commentary box, and down to James Allen.
Well, Murray, normally it's the leader who dictates the pit stop strategy. Whatever they do, everybody else follows. This time I have a feeling it's the other way around. Schumacher was waiting to see what everybody else was doing, Fisichella particularly. Obviously, it's there on a 2-stop strategy. Schumacher, he was toying, my information is he was toying with the idea of a 1-stop strategy. 7.6 seconds. Very, very slick stop from Ferrari, but keep your eyes on David Coulthard.
I have kept my eyes on David Coulthard, and there he is. I've seen him go past and take the lead from Michael Schumacher. So David Coulthard, the winner of the first Grand Prix of 1997 in Melbourne, Australia, in the McLaren Mercedes, leads here in Canada in the McLaren with the new Brixworth, built by Ilmor Mercedes-Benz V10 engine. It's punching out some 775 horsepower, an incredible amount from a normally aspirated 3-litre engine. And it seems to be very reliable, but the Ferrari is very reliable too. Coulthard now, with a clear track in front of him, has got to push.
He's got to push very hard now. He needs to build up that buffer again. He's in command. His lap time's fantastic, 19.902. And now we need to see that one-stop strategy McLaren are going to play by the looks of things is really going to come into play. But at the same point, the Goodyear tyre is holding up. I'm simply amazed by this. It seemed to be in big problems throughout the weekend, but McLaren simply got a handle on it. They may be running a little bit more downforce to stabilise the car, keep that grip together, and the tyre looks clean there on Coulthard's car.
David Coulthard, there he is, has yet to stop. Michael Schumacher, second place, has stopped, and Schumacher is flying. He is catching David Coulthard, and there is no doubt whatsoever that Schumacher will move back into the lead that he lost to Coulthard when the Scotsman comes in to make his tyre stop. Now we're watching Jean Alesi, who is 26 seconds behind David Coulthard and about 3.7 seconds ahead of Fisichella, who is pursued by Herbert. Now this is Heinz-Harald Frentzen coming in from... Do I see? Oh, it's... I think it's just brake smoke, Mark, or dust.
Yeah, it just looks like brake smoke coming off there, but obviously he's in trouble again with his tyres. The Williams is obviously working those Goodyears a lot harder. McLaren there with Coulthard, they've backed off a little bit in lap time. They're down in the 21s. Schumacher's catching up pretty quickly, but that could be tactics. He could just be backing off the pace, making sure he gets to a sensible position with half distance throughout the race. One set of tyres, one stop. He's going to be back out there. Schumacher may well be going for 2 stops at this point, so he's going to gain track position at the end of the race.
Damon Hill's at least running. He is on his 33rd lap. He's not been lapped by David Coulthard yet. He's gone further in this race than he has in any other this season, so that's encouraging. But he's down in 15th place, and he is 74 seconds. 74 seconds, that's very nearly a lap behind David Coulthard. Now, Mark, why should it be that Jacques Villeneuve in Spain kept his tyres alive and Heinz-Harald Frentzen signally failed to do so? We don't know what Villeneuve would have done here, but I was talking to James Robinson of the Williams team, and he was saying they devoted all... out goes the other Minardi, that of Jarno Trulli. The Williams team had been devoting all their time to making Villeneuve be able to preserve his tyres and Frentzen, and I think he would have done. Why one and not the other?
Well, maybe just simply down to driving style in some respects, and at the same point they may prefer a slightly different setup with their car. We know that Villeneuve has been experimenting since last season with different wing setups. We also know that Frentzen is new to the team. He may be still running a little bit too much downforce, which actually might be working the tyre actually too hard in some respects. It can play the other way for you. He may actually run a stiffer car as well. The stiffer it is, the harder it works the tyre. There's so many angles to look at, Murray, and it's difficult to get an assessment.
News from Louise Goodman in the pits with Ralf Schumacher.
Ralph, what happened there? It looked to me like you just went straight on.
Well, it just at the end of the straight, the tyre exploded, so I just went right into the barrier.
But was your car running strongly until then?
Well, we had some understeer problems, and right 2 laps ago, the steering was a bit to the right-hand side, so I thought it's going to be happen something, but I didn't think it will explode.
Tyre exploded, Mark. Does that surprise you?
Well, you know, we've seen Goodyear with some problems, and maybe he just run over something, though. We haven't seen any other problems in terms of tyres exploding. We've seen Frentzen having a lot of tyre wear, but the interesting point is, for me, Coulthard and Johnny Herbert have not come in for pit stops yet, and they're doing some very impressive lap times.
Yeah, that's Johnny Herbert in the background, all over Giancarlo Fisichella's Jordan, which is in 4th place. Both of them pursuing Jean Alesi's Benetton in 3rd position on lap 36 out of 69. So it's a bit misleading. Johnny Herbert Herbert on a very, very light fuel load in the Sauber Petronas, and he's yet to make a stop. Barrichello seems to be in trouble. He's been in for the third time. Well, he is in trouble because he's out of the race. Rubens Barrichello retires, and that is also a great pity, as was Jacques Villeneuve's retirement, because Barrichello got that sensational third place on the grid. He was the top Bridgestone runner. He looked with very low downforce and an incredibly fast car to be in a position possibly to win this race. Sadly, that was not to be. Rubens Barrichello retires, so there are now 14 left.
Interestingly, though, Schumacher is not really catching up with Coulthard. He's running in the 21s. Coulthard's still very strong with 20.5, 20.6s consistently. So that gap there is actually widening between the leader and second place. Ferrari and Schumacher are undoubtedly going to be worried about this.
Yeah, the significance of that being that it seems very likely now that Coulthard definitely, well, he is on a one-stop strategy. Michael Schumacher will certainly have to come in again, and he needs to be not only with Coulthard but ahead of him, and that doesn't look as though it's happening. Michael Schumacher not gaining on David Coulthard. The Scotsman could be in line for a second victory of 1997. The continuation of the return of McLaren Mercedes, for which they've been working so very, very hard. And somebody who's going to be very interested in this race is their new technical director, Adrian Newey, who's now joined McLaren from Williams, and McLaren hope is going to be the last brick in the wall that they hope will be impregnable. Now, you're watching Johnny Herbert on the right, behind Giancarlo Fisichella. Johnny Herbert undoubtedly with a lighter fuel load, but here again you see he's right up with the Jordan, but he can't get past it.
No, he's struggling to get by at this moment. It's going to be difficult for him just to get down the inside. No, hold on, Herbert's up the inside. Can he get good traction? No. That's the problem, you see. He's got to try and set himself up, get himself together, try and get on that gas pedal slightly early in Fisichella, get on the backside of him and get in the toe. Just struggling. The Peugeot's a very, very quick engine, very efficient. But again, Coulthard, 19.635, new lap record again, and also with that 37 laps on those tyres.
Yeah, Johnny Herbert locks up his right front as he goes into the pit lane. He doesn't have to worry because he's not going to need that tyre any longer. They're going to get rid of it. Look at how blistered it is. Oh, gee, just caught a quick flash of a line of blisters all the way round the centre of the tread of the tyre. Oh, I thought he stalled his engine for a moment. Well done, Johnny. Out he goes. David Coulthard, meantime, is increasing his lead over Michael Schumacher. It is now 10 seconds. We're on lap 38. Here is Olivier Panis sprinting through the field, taking Mika Salo, and into the pits comes the Finnish driver in the Tyrrell. Panis is now up into 8th position. He has stopped twice, Olivier Panis, and this is Mika Salo's second stop. And sad news for Benetton and for Alexander Wurz. He has stopped out on the track. I'm looking down the pit lane while I talk to you. I can't see the McLaren people out there. They're yeah, they guys, they must have heard me, because out they come in their black overalls and their Robin and Batman helmets with the red wings on them, getting ready to change the 4 wheels and tyres on race leader David Coulthard's McLaren Mercedes that you are looking at, 10 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher, who will indubitably take the lead. Is he coming in again for a second stop? Surely he must be, in which case David Coulthard will probably retake the lead. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There they are. There are the McLaren mechanics. They're all ready. The blankets will be off the tyres, and Coulthard going down the straight now at about 185 miles an hour. Tyre covers are off, I can tell you that. Into the chicane. No, through he goes, and James Allen.
Murray, I'm watching. The tyre covers have just come off, and you can see where the Goodyear people have shaved the tyres. Apparently it used to be against company policy to do that, and then we started doing it again yesterday. It was something Senna used to like to do. Shave that coating off the outside, help with the heat distribution. David Coulthard's visor covered in mites and dust and brake dust and rubbish. The left rear tyre very slow to be connected, but it's on. Coulthard drops the clutch slightly slowly, 10.5. And we've got a British race leader, guys, a British race leader going back out, but I think Schumacher probably popped him.
You have an ex-British race leader, because there is the new one. It is Michael Schumacher on lap 41 out of 69, having stopped once, as has David Coulthard. But I'm pretty sure that Michael Schumacher will be coming in again. I'm pretty sure that David Coulthard will not be coming in again. So Michael Schumacher has got to build up a lead of 20 seconds.
20 seconds or so, and of course Coulthard won't come in at this point. The pit stop was long, 10.5 seconds, for obvious reasons. He took on a whole tank full of fuel. He's used every single little bit at lap 40, so Schumacher, it looks like, has got to really push hard to make it work.
And James Allen has got Alexander Wurz with him.
Alex, a great debut for you. You must be very disappointed. Was it a gearbox problem in the end?
Yeah, it was gearbox or drive shaft or something. I couldn't carry on, unfortunately, because I was on position 6. I think my strategy was not too bad. I tried to save everything, like brakes and so on, and I would imagine that some guys get some problems in the end. But unfortunately this happens, and I'm very sad because it would have been a great debut.
Hard luck, Alexander, but here is Michael Schumacher over the earthing strip, which is on the concrete there. That's Olivier Panis, who is in 7th place. He came in just behind Michael Schumacher. Who's going to get out? Well, Panis has got out. Now, that's going to be a bit of a problem for Michael Schumacher, because Panis is very quick indeed. He's on brand new rubber, as is Schumacher. And David Coulthard on lap 45 in the 69 lap Canadian Grand Prix is back in the lead. He stopped once. Michael Schumacher's made what will have been his last stop. And both of them have got it all to do. David Coulthard to stay ahead for a second win of 1997. Michael Schumacher to stay ahead for a second win in 1997. And that's Jos Verstappen. Now, he was in 12th position. His teammate Mika Salo is in 8th position. And here is Alesi into the pits. James Allen.
Yes, it's been such a rotten season so far for Benetton. So much expectation, both on Alesi and Berger. Berger, of course, not here because of his sinus infection. Alesi running pretty well in the points, on the way to a podium possibly. A tremendous amount of dust coming off, brake dust everywhere. It's a very heavy braking surface. Just looking at Alesi's tyres again, tremendous scuffing, but hopefully that set will see him through to the end of the race. 9-second stop, not bad.
Yeah, but look, that's Johnny Herbert, but is Alesi going to get out in front of Frentzen? Frentzen blasted past me as Alesi exited the pit lane. It will have been very, very close indeed. Frentzen is 3rd, Alesi is 4th, so Frentzen's momentum carried him past the Benetton as Alesi was exiting, unseen by us, the pit lane. And you're looking at Heinz-Harald Frentzen now in 3rd position in the Williams Renault, chasing Michael Schumacher, who is gaining on David Coulthard. This is lap 49. Now, that's Alesi. Is he slow?
That's just Frentzen going by Alesi there as Alesi exited the pit, Murray. But I think Alesi's pretty strong at this point. I think it's not going to be too many laps before he's on the backside of Frentzen, and then we're going to see a good battle on our hands.
You're watching something, Mark. What is it?
I'm looking at the monitor there, Murray. It looks like Michael Schumacher's left rear tyre looks severely marked up. You can see the dark rings going around the tyre. Looks like there's a lot of blistering. Yes, definitely, they're going to have some tyres on that car.
That will explain how Panis managed to get past here. Michael Schumacher didn't let him pass voluntarily. Well, he did let him pass voluntarily, but he had to do so. Obviously, as you say, Mark, he's got a tyre problem. That's going to bring him in, and that will almost... Here, Schumacher is coming in as I talk to you. Michael Schumacher is coming into the pit lane. I'll watch out for Coulthard. James Allen, watch out for Schumacher.
Well, we haven't seen him yet, Murray, but as Mark Blundell very keenly spotted, he has got a problem with his tyres. John Clear from Williams has come over to take a look as well, but Michael Schumacher, an unexpected and possibly unnecessary stop. He didn't think he'd have to do this. I'm just checking to see whether they're going to be putting the fuel in the car. No, they're not. It's just tyres only. Meanwhile, Frentzen is due in. The tyre covers are off for him, and well, that's 7.5 seconds. That really 6.5. That really throws it wide open. Meanwhile, Frentzen will drop back when he comes back in for his 3rd pit stop of the day.
Yeah, but David Coulthard looks as though he's coming in again. We weren't expecting that. The mechanics are out. Frentzen is coming in. The tyre... Now here, Frentzen. James Allen.
Frentzen comes in. The Williams mechanics, it's just not been their day once again. What do they have to do to win a race these days? Michael Schumacher made a comment in the German press. Last week he said that the Williams team seemed to have some problem winning and finishing races. 8.2 seconds for Patrick Head's going to be another very unhappy man again at the end of this day.
Well, that
Meanwhile,
was...
David Coulthard, incidentally, looks like the McLaren mechanics are out ready for him, so I'm just going to go check what that's all about.
Right, I'm watching them too, and so David Coulthard will be coming in. He's leading the race still. There he is now. Coulthard's coming in.
The same problem again on Coulthard's car. That left rear tyre is marked up very badly, heavy blistering, but at this point he's got some 30-odd seconds gap. Stalled the car, Murray, stalled it.
He stalled it. Up goes the rear, on goes the starter. The crowd is cheering, and Schumacher is getting closer and closer and closer. It was a 30-second gap, but look at the way the seconds are ticking away, and they've got a problem starting the Mercedes-Benz engine. This is really electrifying. The lead is going to change hands between David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher. Schumacher leads. Schumacher's gone through. He's leading the Canadian Grand Prix, and that is Olivier Panis. It's a big one. Olivier Panis, a big one. His head is moving. Let's hope he's perfectly all right. But that was a very, very heavy impact indeed, as Michael Schumacher took the lead and at the pits from David Coulthard. Now, I'm optimistic that the fact that Olivier Panis is moving his head there, I think that happened on turn 5. And the yellow flag is out, no passing. David Coulthard still in the pits. The safety car is going out on lap 53, the safety car, and they'll close up again. But this looks increasingly as though it's giving the race to David Coulthard. But let's concentrate on Olivier Panis and see what happened. Here he is. Now, he's coming out of turn 4.
Coming out of turn 4, and the rear of the car just started to bounce, dancing away, lost the rear end, got completely sideways. One impact on the right wall, then severe into the left wall again. That's a big impact.
Yeah, turn 4, very worried, Cesare Fiorio and Prost. Now,
looks like he's got some problems with his legs trapped in there, Murray, but the guys are trying to get him out very gently. They've got to be very careful. There may have been some problem there with suspension, got to puncture the monocoque, anything like that. They've got to be very careful indeed.
And the race has been stopped. And that is the right decision, because it is very clear that it is going to take too long to remove Olivier Panis from the circuit for the race to be restarted, and that is the responsible and sensible thing to do here in Canada. It is without precedent, as far as I can remember, for the race to be stopped behind the safety car. And it means that Michael Schumacher there has won for the second time this year in Ferrari. And it will mean that it will mean subject to official confirmation, because it's conceivable that the results will be based on the preceding lap, which I think were exactly the same. So unofficially and subject to official confirmation, Michael Schumacher wins the Canadian Grand Prix for the second time, because he won in 1994 for Benetton. Jean Alesi, who finished in 3rd position last year, is going to be finishing in 2nd position this year. And in 3rd position, Giancarlo Fisichella. 4th, Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Pedro Diniz there finishes in 8th position, but 5th, Johnny Herbert. 2 points for the popular little Englishman, and the first World Championship point for Shinji Nakano.
So then a premature end to the Canadian Grand Prix, but the good news about Olivier Panis is that he is in good spirits. The bad news is he's got a broken leg, but he expects to be back at Monza in 3 months' time. But it means here a win for Michael Schumacher, pole sitter for Ferrari. John Alesi in the points again for Benetton. Fisichella, his first podium. Well done, Jordan. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, he gets 3 points. 2 for Johnny Herbert. Shinji Nakano with just the 1 for Prost. Coulthard in 7th. Victory was there for the taking, really. Diniz and Hill, 8 and 9 in the Arrows. Morbidelli 10th. The last one left in the Sauber. Panis officially 11th. Sarlo's engine failed. Verstappen had gearbox trouble. An excellent F1 debut for Wurz. Barrichello retired in the pits. He had a gearbox problem. Ralf Schumacher and Katayama, they both crashed out. And Villeneuve, of course, made that very costly mistake. Hakkinen, Magnussen and Irvine all didn't last beyond the first corner. Well, after the break, we'll have the views of Mark Blundell. Welcome, Mark. And Tony and Simon, of course, they'll be having their say as always, and we'll be talking to the drivers as well. See you shortly.
Olivier is okay. It looked like a fairly heavy shunt, so obviously our thoughts are with him. From the less important thing, the race side of things, obviously disappointed to had the problem that I did when I came in for the pit stop. I'm not quite clear what happened, but I had a small problem before my first stop, and I almost didn't get the gear. We only pitted because Michael pitted, and we felt we had a big enough advantage that it would be the right thing to do, just in case there was another pace car. And clearly it's worked against us this time.
Nevertheless, very encouraging, because you were really flying in the middle of that race, weren't you?
Yeah, that was my race, but that's motor racing.
Obviously, there's a continuous debate between the engineers and in this situation myself as to what to do. And I have to say, I've got to take the responsibility for the call. We could have carried on with the blistered tyres, or we could have had a puncture.
First finish of the season, Damon. Are you satisfied with the result?
I wouldn't say I was delighted. It was a very lonely race, and I was pretty well dead last for a long time. But I knew that if we kept going, then and got a finish, then that would be good for morale. And it's important that we did finish.
I'm very happy for my results, but normally I'm not very happy for the accident, Panis accident. I know this leg is broken now, and I'm very sorry for this. This was my target for this year, so to get on the podium. I'm very happy for this, and we have a possibility to get on the podium also for the next races because we have a very good car.
Another win for you, Michael, but not under very happy circumstances.
True, yeah. Obviously, it's fairly sad to win a race with someone getting injured, and the good message is that Olivier is not in big danger. He got a broken leg, which is obviously enough already, but that's definitely a sad message.
As chairman of the GPDA, are you happy with the safety arrangements at this circuit?
We will discuss. We have discussed after each Grand Prix circuit further developments with the FIA, and I'm sure after this circuit we will discuss the safety issue here. But you have to say as well that the safety measurements have worked not too bad. I mean, in such a corner, having a crash and ending up with a broken neck, I think it is not the worst. It could have been worse. So we have improved the safety by quite a lot compared to what the past made available to us. But we will have to continue to look after it, and that's why the GPDA is so important to give the knowledge what we learn out of the driver's position further to the FIA.
And we all share.